In a fractured universe, Evra, an alien survivor, fights against her captors, clinging to hope. When human soldier Ray bursts in to rescue her, an unlikely love ignites amidst chaos. Together, they must confront malevolent forces, where every choice could determine their fate. In a world of conflict, can love prevail over dire ethical dilemmas? Don't forget to subscribe. 91% of viewers enjoy our content but forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our daily sci-fi stories and support a dedicated team of storytellers and content creators who rely on this as their livelihood. Evra lay strapped to a cold metal examination table, her heart pounding like a distant drum echoing her ancestral memories. The sterile walls of the Cryan research lab loomed over her, painted a harsh white that only highlighted the darkness enveloping her spirit. Flickering overhead lights cast eerie shadows as scientists swarmed around her, their hungry, probing eyes betraying a thirst for knowledge that bordered on obsession. Each whispered word among them dripped with malice, a cruel symphony that underscored the weight of her captured existence, pressing heavily on her chest like lead. "I'm no one's experiment," she whispered defiantly, though the sound barely escaped her lips, drowned by the sterile hum of machines. Her ethereal features were a stark contrast to her captors, skin glistening with a subtle luminescence, sharp cheekbones framed by cascade-like strands of silvery hair, and eyes that shimmered like two twin moons reflecting the cosmos. Within her mind, flashes of her lost home, Elia, flickered like dying stars. Each vivid memory tugged at her heart, like threads of a tapestry unraveled. Fields of lavender swaying gently in a soft breeze. The laughter of her people resonating through the air like melodious echoes in a sacred grove. She remembered the warmth of her family's embrace, the strength and kindness of her community. Now, all that remained was a gaping void of silence and despair. Just as one scientist prepared to draw blood, a gleaming needle glinting menacingly in his hand, her resolve wavered. Would she truly perish here, forgotten like a passing shadow? A flicker of doubt clouded her vision, but just then, the sound of clattering boots approached, echoing against the sterile floors. Her heart raced with a wild mix of fear and hope as she wondered who might enter. A moment later, chaos erupted around her. The facility began to shake violently as a loud blast resonated through the corridors. Light flickered and alarms blared, amplifying the panic that surged among the Cryan scientists. They stumbled like ants under attack, frantically trying to regain control while Evra's heart soared with the promise of escape, or the dread of impending violence. Then, like a herald of hope amidst the chaos, Ray Nova charged into the room, armored and fierce. With dark hair framing his sharp features, and eyes that burned with determination, he cut through the shadows like a beacon of light. An intricate insignia glinted on his breastplate, representing a forgotten order of soldiers who fought for those oppressed. "Hold on, I'm here to get you out," he shouted, locking eyes with Evra, his voice a commanding roar that pierced through the bedlam. That gaze, so full of fire, sent tendrils of hope spiraling through her heart, weaving a golden thread into her despair. "Why would you risk your life for me?" she gasped, struggling against the restraints that held her captive. Confusion mingled with gratitude, but the urgency of the moment swallowed her words like a tempest. "I can't let them do this to you. We fight together now," Ray replied, unsheathing a weapon from his side with swift precision, facing down the encroaching guards with the unyielding courage of a warrior born for battle. As the confrontation escalated, the lab exploded into a flurry of movement and turmoil. Evra felt an awakening within her, a stirring deep in her core. Suddenly, chaos erupted. The facility shook as an earth-shattering blast resonated through the labyrinthine corridors of the Cryan research lab. An ominous howl reverberated from the bowels of the complex, rattling equipment and shaking the very air Evra breathed. Light flickered erratically, casting morbid shadows against sterile walls, and alarms blared with an anxious urgency, sending shockwaves of panic among the white-coated scientists. Ray Nova, clad in armored combat gear that glinted under the harsh overhead lights, stormed into the sterile room like a tempest, his silhouette stark against the chaos outside. He moved with a fierce intensity, a storm of purpose that cut through the shadows and illuminated Evra's dark confinement. "Hold on, I'm here to get you out," he barked, locking eyes with Evra, a fierce determination igniting his blue gaze. That gaze, fiery, unyielding, sparked something within her, sending tendrils of hope spiraling through the depths of her despair. "Why would you risk your life for me?" she gasped, the confusion swirling within her like the tide. Gratitude tinged her voice, yet fear lingered in the corners of her thoughts. "I can't let them do this to you. We fight together now," Ray replied, already unsheathing a weapon designed for swift, lethal action. With a clean motion, he aimed at the encroaching guards, their faces distorted masks of malevolence. The clash of metal and the crackle of energy bursts erupted in the lab as guards scrambled to respond. Ray's movements were a symphony of tactics born from years of training, a fluid dance of survival and defiance. He ducked under a hail of laser fire, returning fire with precise shots that sent guards sprawling. The air was thick with the smell of burnt ozone, punctuated by the sharp sound of energy weapons discharging. Evra felt a surge of adrenaline as the chaos unfurled around her. It was not just the cacophony of destruction that awakened her but the realization that she had a partner in this fight, a soldier who understood the gravity of the moment. Bound by the metallic restraints, she watched in awe, her breath hitching as Ray faced the onslaught with raw courage. "Evra, get ready," he shouted over the clamor, racing toward her side, weaving between the shards of broken equipment and fleeing scientists. The electric blue of his armor contrasted sharply with the sterile steel of the lab, a vivid beacon amid the gloom. As he drew closer, she could see the determination etched on his face, a mask of fierce resolve hardened by years of combat against the Cryan menace. In that fleeting moment, emotions swirled through her. The remnants of sadness, the flicker of hope, and a burst of something new, something she hadn't felt in ages, a connection. Before she could fully process her feelings, Ray was by her side, working frantically to undo her restraints. His fingers moved with practiced ease, his focus intense. The metal straps fell away, and as she felt the cool air brush against her arms, it was as if the weight of despair began to lift. "Why did it take so long for someone to come?" she whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. "Because they underestimated you," Ray replied, locking eyes with her, a warmth emerging in the pit of her stomach despite the raging chaos around them. "But no more. Let's show them who we really are." Her heart raced. The gravity of Ray's words anchored her to the moment. In that instant, amidst the wreckage, she felt not just like a survivor but like a warrior ready to reclaim her freedom. With the guards regrouping outside, Ray swept her toward the exit, adrenaline pounding through Evra's veins. The door erupted open, and they surged into the narrow hallway, where the echo of chaos melded with their pounding hearts. A squad of armored guards rounded the corner, their visors reflecting the dim lights of the facility, a stark reminder of the stakes they faced. "Stay close," Ray shouted, his voice an anchor in the storm. They maneuvered around the corner, sprinting through the corridor. Evra struggled to keep pace. "Are you okay?" Ray cast a quick glance back, his expression softening. "I will be, now that you're here," she replied, not fully comprehending the pall of danger that surrounded them, only their shared strength pushing her forward. As they skidded to a halt near a service hatch, Ray took a breath and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We can't stop until we're off this rock. Trust me." The sincerity in his voice painted vivid scenes in Evra's mind, scenes of freedom, laughter, and the lush fields of Elias swirling back just from his presence. Together, they were a living testament to the fight for survival, two beings against the encroaching shadows. With urgency, Ray activated a panel by the hatch. The door hissed open, revealing a dimly lit compartment filled with tools and equipment, his escape route. "This way," he urged, pulling her forward as they dashed through, the sound of pursuit growing fainter. Just as they made their way down the corridor, a sudden jolt rocked the facility. A tremor reverberated beneath their feet, sending Evra stumbling against Ray, who steadied her with a firm grip. "What was that?" she asked, heart pounding wildly. "I've got a bad feeling about this," Ray muttered, eyes narrowing as he glanced back. The very walls of the Cryan labs seemed to resonate with chaos. As they pressed on, they moved through darkened spaces teeming with flickering lights and ominous shadows. Then, suddenly, the alarms blared louder, a wailing siren that seemed to herald impending doom. "We need to hurry. It sounds like they're onto us," Ray urged, his voice calm yet urgent. When they burst onto an elevated platform, the view revealed an expansive bay filled with sleek, ominous ships, the Cryan fleet looming large in the distance. "What are we doing here?" Evra's voice quaked slightly, a mix of awe and fear. "I need to get you to one of the shuttles," Ray said, his expression resolute. "From there, we can escape this hellhole." Evra's heart thudded in her chest. "We'll be in the open. They'll see us. They'll see us wherever we are," Ray countered, determination etched into the lines of his face. "It's a risk we have to take." It was a terrifying, intoxicating thought. The prospect of flight, of escaping into the vastness of space. She nodded, accepting the urgency of the moment. With Ray's hand gripping tightly around hers, they dashed across the exposed platform, dodging guard patrols and abandoned crates as they searched for a vessel capable of flight. The deafening alarms echoed through the metallic veins of the Cryan research facility, reverberating like the loudest of war drums. As chaos erupted, the sterile, white hallways teemed with confusion. Dominated by harsh fluorescent lighting, the lab's cold atmosphere stood in stark contrast to the warmth of fleeting hope flickering inside Evra. Ray Nova's powerful presence surged into the room, his armor glinting under the flickering lights like an unyielding shield. He drove his shoulder against a bulkhead before coming to Evra's side, eyes fierce with determination. "Hold on, I'm here to get you out," he bellowed, lifting her from the steel table as if she weighed nothing, bringing her to her feet. The moment their eyes met, a bolt of energy seemed to leap between them, an electrifying connection poised to defy the odds. But there was no time for lingering. The distant sound of boots echoed from the hall, growing louder, approaching with malicious intent. "Why would you risk your life for me?" she gasped, confusion mingling with gratitude and wonder. This human was the very embodiment of bravery. "Because you are worth more than they will ever know," Ray responded, urgency threading through his voice as he unsheathed his weapon. In swift motions, they darted through the facility. Ray's expert combat skills were on full display, every movement precise and calculated. Each cry of an enemy guard met with a response that was as instinctual as breathing. Desks toppled, machines sputtered, and science turned to warfare under their combined will. Evra felt an empowerment awakening within her as her own alien abilities started to surface, infused with adrenaline. As they maneuvered through the twisting labyrinth of the lab, Evra caught glances of her surroundings. The research facility was a twisted amalgamation of cold steel bordered by glass panes revealing other frightened captives, subject to endless examinations by their captors. The sorrowful sights ignited the embers of her fury. Let them go, Evra shouted, her voice filled with raw defiance, but Ray shook his head, firmly guiding her toward their escape. It's not just us, Evra. We need to survive. Focus on getting out first. Pushing through a fire door, they emerged into the frigid air outside, a stark contrast against the sterile confines of the laboratory. The howling winds of the unnamed planet bit at their skin as they sprinted toward a nearby shuttle docked momentarily on a snowy stretch of desolation. Above them, the sky darkened with thunderous booms that echoed like an ominous warning, casting shadows that loomed larger by the second. Get in, Ray shouted, his fingers darting over the controls, attempting to bring the shuttle to life. But as fate would have it, the engine sputtered, mirroring the tension of their flight. Will it hold? Evra felt panic creep in again. The memories of her destroyed home, Elia, clawed at her heart like an insatiable beast, seeking peace in the ravaged landscape of her soul. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Ray's determination surged around them like an invisible shield. His voice, rich with conviction, somehow quelled the rising storm inside her. Just as they buckled into their seats, an ominous shadow swept across the ground, the Cryan warship, a monstrous, dark sentinel returning to claim its prey. The ship thrummed with malevolence as it hovered, weapons primed and shining ominously against the snowy backdrop like sharp teeth waiting to bite. The shuttle stall turned into a harrowing reality, a desperate battle for escape. The warship unleashed a barrage of flame, tendrils of fire dancing toward them, licking the edges of the shuttle, singeing the ice beneath their feet. Hold on, Ray yelled as he flipped switches frantically, the control panel lighting up in a chaotic symphony of warnings and blaring alarms. The cabin shuddered violently, and Evra felt her stomach lurch dangerously. I thought I'd lost everything, she heard herself confess amidst the bedlam, but why do I feel safe with you? I've trained my whole life to protect others, he said, conviction lining every word. You deserve to be free. With each jolt of the craft, the warship's fury rained down on them. But Ray's focused intensity radiated strength, igniting her own dormant capabilities. In an unexpected moment of clarity, Evra's heart surged with power. Tapping into her alien essence, she instinctively reached out with her mind. Bewildered, she formed mental shields, deflecting some of the pain-inflicting energy from crashing against them. Ray, I can help, she shouted, her voice chiming with newfound authority. Do it, whatever you're thinking, Ray encouraged. They executed an intricate dance of dodging and striking. Together they became an indomitable force. Ray's precise maneuvers and Evra's psychic shields began to weave a tapestry of survival. Raw energy coursed through them, their connection bolstering their resolve. Yet amid the chaos, another voice broke through the mayhem. Ray, Evra, I'm en route to assist. Hold on. It was Jet, an old comrade, a trusted ally from Ray's dark past, weaving into their tangled fate. Jet, Ray barked, adrenaline surging. We'll need all the help we can get. The shuttle erupted into a whirlwind of evasive maneuvers, but each second felt like an eternity. The warship loomed incessantly, relentless in its pursuit, roaring with rage, seeking retribution for their flight from captivity. The tension was palpable, a living entity spanning the narrow gap between despair and hope. Every passing second felt like an age, teetering on the cusp of glory or demise. But they wouldn't go down without a fight, not now, not after all they had endured. Finally, in a movement that left the air thick with exhilaration, they executed a sharp turn, sending the shuttle spiraling toward an adjacent canyon. The steep walls rose like ancient sentinels, obscuring their pursuers momentarily. Hang on, Ray urged, eyes fierce as he gripped the controls with iron resolve. Evra felt the rush of turbulence, the air thrummed and heated around them, but as the canyon swallowed them whole, an invigorating calm settled inside her. In that fleeting moment, she glimpsed their shared destiny, a symphony of rebellion and liberation forged in the fires of despair. They might not know where the road would take them, but together, they had a chance. As they maneuvered through the canyon's treacherous twists and turns, emotions coursed like a vivid tidal wave. The bond forged between them grew stronger with every shared glance and every calculated motion. As they soared through the endless tapestry of stars, the intimate vibrations of the shuttle seemingly mimicked the escalating tension within. The gentle hum abruptly shifted when the ship was caught in a turbulent current of unseen cosmic winds. A violent jolt reverberated through the shuttle, sending alarms blaring to life and red lights flashing like anxious beacons. A symphony of chaos in the confined space. Evra's heart raced, pounding against her ribcage as she clutched the edge of her seat, knuckles white. "Ray, we're going down," she cried out, panic threading through her voice like an electric current wrapping tightly around her soaring hopes. Outside, nebulous clouds twisted and turned, seemingly eager to swallow them whole. Yet, in the midst of terror, a flicker of determination ignited within her. They had come too far, they couldn't end here. Ray's hands danced skillfully over the controls, frantically attempting to stabilize their descent. His brow furrowed, echoing the intensity of the storm brewing around them. "Not yet, just hang on," he shouted, his voice a steady anchor amidst the tempest. They could only watch as a stark streak of light approached them, a Cryan warship, aggressive and unyielding, looming like a specter eager to claim its prey. Evra felt a rush of dread wash over her, suppressing her fears momentarily as all her senses focused on Ray, who had become both her protector and her partner in this fight for survival. Before they could grasp the gravity of the situation, a crackling voice jolted through their comms, slicing through the tension like a bolt of lightning. "Ray, Evra, this is Jet." The familiar voice of Ray's ex-comrade surged with unexpected fervor, offering a thread of hope within the chaos. "I'm en route to assist." "Hold on, Jet," Ray exclaimed, a flicker of relief breaking through his grim expression as he made a series of sharp maneuvers, dodging fire from the warship without losing sight of the oncoming ally. Evra felt her heart lift momentarily with the promise of aid, even as the reality of their perilous situation loomed large. More explosions rocked the shuttle, flames spiraling in towards them as Ray's swift movements pushed them into precarious evasive actions. "Brace for impact," Ray shouted just as the ship shuddered again, forcing Evra hard into her seat. Metal screeched, alarms wailed, and the world around them spun into a whirlpool of blinding lights and sounds. Evra's mind raced, memories of Elia flooding back, of lush, shimmering landscapes and the warmth of her people's embrace. She fought to tether herself to the present, to focus on the moment, to trust in Ray's steadfast resolve. The vector of her existence was no longer a haunting void but an unforeseen fellowship forged through unbearable adversity. As Jet's vessel burst onto the screen, Evra finally glimpsed a reprieve, a streak of cobalt blue against the vast black expanse as he maneuvered alongside them, opening fire on the Cryan warship. A flurry of blaster fire illuminated the void, sending explosions cascading through the cold emptiness of space. "Got your six," Jet's voice rang through the comms, an exuberant spirit amidst chaos. "We've lost control of the starboard engine." Ray swore, his hands a flurry over the console, gripping tight for salvation as Jet veered to provide cover. "We can't keep this up for long." With every barrage of energy blasts exchanged between allies and adversaries, Evra fought to ground herself, struggling against the swirling chaos that threatened to engulf her. An electric tension buzzed between her and Ray, irrevocably tying them together in this seize-the-moment struggle for survival. The adrenaline that coursed through her limbs felt foreign yet exhilarating, igniting a heartbeat of fierce vitality. "Evra," Ray shouted, breaking through her focus. "We need to stabilize." Their gazes locked, a profound connection thickening the air around them, laden with the urgency of their plight. "Can you help me? What do you need?" she replied, determination fortifying her spirit as she leaned forward, ready to act. "Switch the power from the shields to the engines. It'll be risky, but it might just give us enough speed to escape." His eyes were fierce, a blend of desperation and ambition sparking within them. Evra didn't hesitate. She dove toward the console, her fingers racing over the buttons, feeling the thrum of power as though it were a living thing beneath her touch. "I'm on it." She could feel the tremors of the ship beneath her, an echo of the churning emotions within. As the energies shifted, a raw connection formed between them, not just as allies fighting for their lives, but as two souls entwined by a storm far larger than themselves. "Brace yourself," Ray warned again, quickly reorienting their vessel toward the heart of the anomaly raging before them. Ebbs of light from the warship's fire flared ominously, brightening their faces, an intricate dance of danger and desperation. Just as they prepared for the next maneuver, the shuttle slammed violently, temporarily vanishing their grasp on each other, as the panels rattled under the strain of the forces pulling them apart. Evra's heart thundered as turbulence swirled around her. She fought desperately against the onslaught, wrapping her fingers tightly around the console, leveraging her senses to maintain control. "Now, Ray." Ray tightened his grip on the control panel, pulling hard against the forces that tried to overpower them. "Hold on," he shouted, channeling every ounce of focus into a singular moment, every impulse igniting their desperate sprint for survival. A flash of blinding light enveloped them. Evra gasped, clenching her eyes shut, time stretching taut as the shuttle fused itself to the galaxy's breath. The dynamics of gravity twisted, shifting as a powerful tremor crashed against them, spiraling out of control until silence fell. In an instant, they broke through the storm and into calmness, suspended in an ethereal stillness. The warped expressions of chaos melted into serene beauty, space surrounding them shimmering like crystalline waters after a violent torrent. "Evra, we made it?" Ray breathed, disbelief coloring his tone. She exhaled a breath they both seemed to have been holding for eons. "I think we did," she whispered, heart racing with the unfamiliar sensation of hope mingled with uncertainty. Yet their relief was short-lived, as an ominous flicker surged back into view. The Cryan warship still loomed, but now it appeared different, more sinister, darker than before. Shadows crawled along its surface, and the ship shifted slowly, its guns recalibrating toward them with resolute intent. "Jet, get us out of here," Ray urged, eyes wide with apprehension. After a furious skirmish with the Cryan forces, Ray and Evra crash-landed on a distant, untouched planet, emerging battered but alive. As the shuttle's metal frame crumpled against the vibrant and forgiving landscape, the scent of the alien soil, rich and earthy, filled the air. Lush greens waved under the gentle caress of an unseen breeze, a stark contrast to the sterile, harsh environment they had fled. "I can't believe we made it," Evra whispered, a warm smile breaking through her anxiety, her eyes wide as they took in the kaleidoscopic flora around them. Iridescent flowers swayed, pulsating with a soft luminescence, casting playful shadows against their tired faces. Her heart raced, not just from the adrenaline of their escape but from the intoxicating allure of this planet, brimming with possibility. Ray knelt beside an unusually shaped plant, its petals glistening as if adorned with droplets of starlight. "Look at this," he said, touching the smooth surface tentatively. "It's like nothing I've ever seen." Evra joined him, marveling at the hues. "I've read about bioluminescent flora in my studies, but to see it, it's breathtaking." Her voice trembled with awe, and for the first time since their ordeal began, her heart felt light. Yet a shadow flickered behind her smile. She was a survivor, but what did that mean on this new world? Ray stood, brushing off his tactical gear. We can't linger. We have to assess our surroundings and find shelter. His pragmatism contrasted with Evra's wonder, but she understood the urgency thrumming in his veins. Right, she nodded, steeling herself. Lead the way. With hesitant steps, they ventured deeper into the vibrant thicket. The vegetation rustled. Odd noises echoed around them. Whispers of an unknown language floated on the wind. Evra instinctively reached for Ray's arm, squeezing it as they walked, a silent gesture of reassurance. Did you hear that? She whispered, her eyes darting to every shadow. Just the wildlife, Ray reassured, though he too felt the underlying pulse of danger in the air. We need to stay alert. As they trekked further into the verdant expanse, they stumbled upon a glimmering stream. Clear waters tumbled over smooth stones, sparkling like liquid diamonds. The sight drew them, a moment of solace amid the chaos of their escape. Ray crouched beside the water, cupping his hands to drink. It's safe, he said, his voice rich with relief, punctuated by the gurgling of the stream. Evra joined him, allowing the coolness to wash over her. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the soothing sound pull her from her fears. What's next? She asked after drinking, her voice softer now, imbued with warmth, as she leaned against a weathered rock. Ray stood and surveyed their surroundings. We need to establish a perimeter, find out what's on this planet, and ensure we're not being followed. I'll scout the area. Wait, she pleaded, her emerald eyes locking onto his. I want to help. I can track movement and recognize plants. My knowledge may offer insight. Ray paused, the crack of doubt flickering across his expression. It's dangerous out there. Evra stepped closer, her determination piercing through layers of fear. I can't stand by while you shoulder the burden. We're in this together. He saw the fierce resolve in her gaze, a reflection of his own tenacity. Against the backdrop of rustling leaves and the distant sounds of vibrant life, he relented. All right, but promise me you'll stay close. We can't afford to lose each other here. Deal, Evra grinned, invigorated by the prospect of action. Hand in hand, they ventured toward the edge of a thicket, where the trees grew taller, their trunks spiraling upwards into the sky, as if reaching for the stars. As they navigated the alien landscape, their hearts attuned to the thrumming rhythm of a new world, Evra marveled at the intricate tapestry of life surrounding them. Look at that, she exclaimed, pointing at a creature darting between bushes, a small, luminous being, its wings like the delicate petals of the flowers. It's beautiful, Ray responded, his worries momentarily cast aside as they shared the wonder of the creature's flight. This place, it's alive. Just like us, Evra said softly, and as their eyes met, unspoken feelings surged through them, binding them tighter against the uncertainty of their situation. Yet, the enchanting moment shattered as a low growl reverberated through the underbrush. Both froze, the eerie sound sending shivers down their spines. Evra's heart raced as she shifted closer to Ray, instinctively seeking his protection. What was that? She whispered, fear threading through her words. I don't know, but we should get moving. Ray's voice was firm, yet a hint of concern danced in his eyes as he scanned the trees. As they crept forward, the shadows lengthened around them, and soon they found themselves at the mouth of a cave. Its entrance loomed dark, a gaping maw inviting exploration but promising danger. What if there's something inside? Evra commented, her pulse quickening, not just from fear but curiosity. Or shelter, Ray countered, peering inside. We can't stay out here. With a deep breath to steel herself, Evra nodded, and together they entered. The cave walls glimmered with crystals, casting fragmented light in myriad colors across their faces. The beauty was surreal, enchanting, yet a part of Evra felt the echoes of a darker truth stirring within the depths. "Stay close," Ray urged, his voice resonating in the shallow silence. They advanced slowly, the crunch of gravel underfoot drowning the strange whispers emanating from the cave's heart. What did this place used to be? Evra mused aloud. A shelter? A dwelling? Maybe, Ray replied, but in a place as untouched as this, who knows what might have taken up residence? As they ventured deeper, the whispers grew louder, indistinct yet urgent. Curiosity and trepidation waged war within Evra. "Ray, do you hear that?" "Yeah," he said cautiously, leading the way. "Let's keep moving." Suddenly, an intense glow emitted from the cave's depths, illuminating an expanse decorated with alien drawings etched into the walls. Symbols glimmered under the crystal light, weaving a story of ancient beings and shared experiences. "Look at this," Evra exclaimed, tracing one symbol with her fingers. "It's a language." She studied the markings, piecing the narrative together like a puzzle. The drawings depicted scenes of cooperation and battles fought, their forms hinting at a race that revered connection over conquest. Maybe these were the caretakers of this planet, Ray mused, stepping closer to inspect the illustrations. Suddenly, his attention shifted to movement in the shadows. "Evra, watch out!" he shouted as a creature lunged from the darkness. A fierce, feline-like beast with wiry muscles rippling beneath its sleek fur. Evra's heart dropped. Instinct kicked in as she quickly ducked, letting Ray deflect the creature, grappling with it, attempting to regain control. Its piercing eyes glinted with intelligence, confusion intertwining with aggression. "Get back," Ray snarled, wrestling with the beast. Evra reached for a stalagmite, its sharp point glistening dangerously. "I can help. On the count of 3, we." "Evra, don't." Ray's words cut through the air, but it was too late. With fierce determination, she hurled the makeshift weapon, striking the creature just above its eye. It roared in surprise, and Ray seized the moment, pinning it down with a swift, decisive movement. The creature eventually stilled, panting heavily, staring at them, its eyes losing the initial wild fury, instead studying them for an understanding. "Are we friends or foes?" Evra whispered, captivated by the creature's vibrant eyes. Ray's expression softened. "I think it just wanted to protect its territory." He slowly released his hold, keeping his body tense in case the creature lashed back, but it merely lay there, seeming almost tired. Evra knelt beside the creature, extending a hand slowly, the gesture of peace that resonated through her heart. "We mean no harm, I promise. We're just travelers." To her astonishment, the creature leaned into her touch, accepting her palm against its warm fur. "See," she said, a smile breaking through her fear. "It's not all bad." Ray's tension ebbed as he watched the spectacle unfold. "You have a way with creatures, Evra. This world is full of surprises," she countered, marveling at the creature's acceptance of them. "We need to remember that. We may be different, but we can find common ground." Slowly, the creature rose, its body still wary, but there was something undeniably drawn toward them. As it turned, the glowing crystals revealed symbols on the creature's fur, a familiarity echoing the stories from the cave. "Maybe this is more than a coincidence," Ray murmured, glancing from the creature to the drawings. "Maybe this creature is part of the legacy." Evra felt a wave of realization wash over her. "We have a responsibility now, to learn, to protect this world." As if understanding the weight of their newfound bond, the creature bowed its head and started to lead them deeper into the cave, guiding them through the alien landscape. "Guess we have a new friend," Ray joked, shaking his head in awe as they followed. "Together, we can uncover the secrets of this place," Evra responded, her voice a blend of excitement and reverence. They moved as a trio, Ray, Evra, and their new companion, stepping into a realm where legacies intertwined and destinies awaited. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.